We know you love spirituality, and so do we. Keeping with the spirit of a season, Seventh Sense is taking you to Ireland, home of Halloween, and today to Wicklow Gaol. A place where the innocent were once imprisoned for minuscule crimes, which by today's standards wouldn't even raise an eyebrow. And today, we take you into the life of the unfortunate prisoners of Wicklow Gaol.
They had up to 8 public hangings a day and were kept in filthy, starving and cold conditions. The horrors unfolded behind these doors were so horrific that many souls find that they cannot peacefully rest and must walk the halls of Wicklow Gaol, even today, in search of justice.
Let's now travel back in time to the 1700s and walk the walk of those whose lives were made unbearable within these walls, and mostly just for being poor enough to be driven to crime.
Remember that we're the lucky ones, because we can leave. For those who were sent here, it was normally the beginning of the end of everything they knew, or in some cases, even their life. Now let's enter Wicklow Gaol.
Hello. Welcome to Wicklow Gaol.
Thank you.
Follow me in. Okay, folks. Welcome to the main body of the jail. It's going to be your home for the next short while. Now, many thousands of people walked these floors. We've 42 cells in this building, 12 to 15 people in each of those cells. As you can imagine, many things happened here. Maybe you'll see some of them later on.
In this small room, 12 to 15 prisoners were huddled together, men, women and children, for minuscule crimes, and due to lack of hygiene and illness, some of them never came out.
Even if you did survive your sentence, there's no guarantee you'll be free. For before you go, you have to pay the jailer. Not an easy thing to do in a world full of poverty.
Of course, there was one way you could make your time here a little more productive. It would possibly spare you most of the heartache and pain this place had to offer. The matron Mary Morris felt that education was a cure for crime, and that educating criminals was one sure way to ensure they didn't reoffend and hopefully would go on to lead a better life.
For some, this was the only chance they ever got to learn to read or write. Well, at least they got fed here, which helped them to attend.
In this room, ladies learned to sew, mend clothing, spinning, knitting, and other good trades of the day. If you chose not to fall in line with this offer, or for some unknown reason had failed to please your jailer, there was another fate which awaited you deep in the very bowels of the prison.
If you thought your luck was bad being sentenced to the cells upstairs, then imagine your horror at being sentenced down here to the dungeons. If you thought you'd be waiting on food and medicine up there, then you'd certainly be waiting for food and medicine down here. For down here, nobody heard your cries. And even if they did, what would they care? They had troubles plenty of their own.
If you had the good fortune of being released from the dungeon, and although you're weak and disorientated from lack of light, heat and food, instead of being allowed to rest, you're put to work.
If it wasn't bad enough, the dirt and the cold inside, to be sentenced to this jail meant that we were committed to hard labour.
Workers were sent to work on the treadwheel, receiving only lashes if they slackened.
Not an easy task when you are fed and healthy, but torturous when you suffer from malnutrition and disease.
Now that your body is worn to its very limits, every bone aches, and your very being stings with a raw hunger, you have now been sentenced to the colony, a savage, strange land where you have seen many go to and none return, never again to see home.
Your journey to Australia. Firstly, you'll set sail for the Cape Verde Islands, followed by Rio de Janeiro, Cape Town, and finally Botany Bay. A journey of 7 months if you survive. One prisoner from this jail was Esther Reid, a young mother of 2 children who stole potatoes. She was sentenced to 7 years in Australia. At one point in history, when women arrived in Australia, the captain had the authority to sell them along with the cattle that they brought over. For those that survived the journey, Australia proved to be a better life, but anything had to be better than Wicklow Gaol.
Although it is believed the ship would be the final journey of Wicklow Gaol prisoner, many believe the souls of many poor prisoners still linger here today. But ghosts and spirits are just souls wanting to be heard. Some tales are maybe sad or macabre in nature, but sometimes it is just their story. We have many ways to make contact with those in the afterlife, be they a stranger or a loved one. However, the first step is simply just to listen. From all of us here at 7 Sense Psychics, have a great Halloween, or as they say in Irish, Icha Chawan.